As an owner, we do that though. I've fought for people that I want more than they do. And it takes me a hot minute to realize like, oh, I can see where you could go, but you're not willing to do these things to get there. And I can't do that for you. And I got to let that go. And it hurts at times because I'm like, oh, you could be so successful so quickly. But it is what it is.
Hello, everyone. Today we're talking about mindset and specifically how to look at problems, obstacles, holdups, whatever you got going on differently. Kind of nailed it on that. Mm-hmm. All right, welcome back to our show. My name is Todd, and I'm here with my wife and business partner, Jen.
Hi.
Hi. We are co-owners of Hello Hair Pro and Hello Hair Co., which is our salon and barber shop. You're listening to the Hello Hair Pro podcast. I don't know why I'm yelling.
I was just going to go
excited.
Ooh.
All right, so before we start, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Ping Pong Design and Marketing.
Ping pong.
If you want to love your website again, or you're looking for more clients to fill your business, Ping Pong is offering our audience a special discount on any website or digital marketing campaign. So visit the show notes, reach out to Chris, he's awesome, and talk to him about your needs. Ping Pong is not just for hair pros, but the entire health, beauty, and fitness industries. Let's get on to the show.
Let's.
I saw this post on social media earlier today.
Do tell.
I'm going to. Thanks for the permission. The permission. Do people say permission?
You just did.
I say what I want.
Then people say it.
I guess. All right. So I saw this post earlier and it was talking about how to get your team to step up like their service. And this was like a specific to salons.
Okay.
And I was interested in, they went through, here are our top 3 things. And it was like, none of them was define what it should look like for your business. Like, shouldn't that be where you start? The first thing, for example,
I'm confused. So go ahead.
All right. So it was like, if you want your staff to step up, their game, send them to get a service at another salon, which is great. That's something that we say.
Yeah.
And then do this, and then do this, and then do this. But they never said define what you want it
like
to look.
That salon to look like, or the owner to look like.
No, you and your staff.
Right, to the individual.
So I'm curious of like, if you're going to send one of your staff to another salon to get a service, but you haven't defined what you want them to take out of that.
Oh, yes, for sure.
What you want it to look like at your salon. Like, that's cool. The salon across the street gives a good service. I hope they do. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean it's going to work for me.
Right.
Here.
When I have done that in the past, it's always been some parameters. This is what I want you to look for. This is what we're looking for.
Right. I know you've sent people to other places to have services. I think you took your team out once, right? Yeah. For like an outing to get like a blow dry or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I just think that the first order of business is always to define how you want things to look in your business. I use business a lot there in that sentence, maybe twice, but either way.
I'm a wordy speaker, so it's fine with me.
All right, let's jump into this. So what are some mindsets that we see in the hair world and in any world? So
I think you're going to tell us.
I'm going to tell us. I just thought we could start by laying these out.
Okay.
And I want people to think about, because at the end, we're going to go over how to make a mindset shift.
I love that. I think everybody can use that right there. Hang on, peeps. That tidbit of information will be humongous.
Yeah. And there's going to be a lot that we go over. Like, I don't know, maybe I have like 7 or 10 things, but
the shift is the important part, in my opinion.
Yeah. And before we get there, we have to know where we're starting. So we have to define where you're at. So I want people to think about this.
Well, and they can, exactly. They can understand where they're at when you define the different situations.
Yes. And when we get there, the first thing I'm going to say is that you need to define it and you need to figure out where you're at.
What's your mindset? Yeah.
Think about these things, and it's okay if you're on the negative side of things, because you're listening, you're trying to grow, you're conscious of it. And that is way more than most people are doing. Yeah. Yeah. You're going to be successful just because. So just because of those things, not just because words matter.
They do.
All right. You have your growth mindset.
Okay.
So a growth mindset is somebody that thrives in the face of failure. They embrace challenges. They
Okay.
just desire to learn and to grow. And then opposite of that is your fixed mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So these are your people that are, it's a pet peeve of mine, but a know-it-all. Somebody that has to know it all. Pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
But anyways, these people also most likely ignore feedback or criticism, and they're threatened by other people's success.
I can't work with people like that.
It is tough.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more mindsets. Abundance. So an abundance mindset is someone that's focused on opportunities. They understand that the world is abundant, resources are abundant. There is more than enough to go around, especially when it comes to money. They're able to focus on things that they're able to control or influence. And that's sort of where they play. They don't really mess around outside of that.
I see a lot on that recently. And I'll tell you
How so?
what people are saying. I just related it. Holy crap. I see a lot of mentors or whatever that I follow, and they talk about being your own brand, like stop watching what everyone else is doing and really focus on what you're doing. And it's interesting. The abundance mindset is what they're speaking to, right? Like just keep doing whatever you set out to do. Don't worry about, the neighbor next door and the neighbor over there. Like if you're catching them or you're not catching them, whatever it is, like just focus on what you set out to do and the mission of that, right? And
yes,
you're going to get there. Super cool.
You also, unless you're friends with them, probably don't know where they're at. So if you're trying to get somewhere that you don't even know,
you have no idea
they're at. Like
I don't care if on surface, whatever you think you're seeing, it's not what is real.
No, it's probably not. So that was growth, right?
Abundance.
Now we're at, I'm sorry. You interrupted me and I lost my place. I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. Normally I highlight on my notes so I can keep track of that. And we just talked about that.
I know, we did.
Before we hit record. So we were just chit-chatting. Anyways, so opposite of abundance, you have a scarcity mindset. Man, these are the people that get stuck on what's missing, what they don't have. It's also the mindset where people they believe that if in order for someone to do well, someone else has to do bad.
Which is not a thing.
Not true. It doesn't hold up. No. There's no evidence to support that.
Everybody can do great.
Unless you're in a town of one.
Yeah, then that's not a thing.
Right? I mean.
And it's okay if you're
even
there.
Still, if you're doing one person's hair.
It's totally fine if that's where you're at, but you're going to come through it. We're going to give you some tips.
All right. So there's a couple more that I was reading about recently. So like a learning mentality, learning mindset. This is someone that deals in facts, someone that looks at what action steps they can take. They ask themselves what choices they can make. They ask themselves things like, how can I help this situation? And this is my favorite. They ask, what am I missing?
Cool.
I like that.
Yeah, me too.
So that learning mindset, they're likely to ask open-ended questions. Open-minded questions, things like that. So it's
open-ended means like just not yes or no, right?
Yeah, we're after
it's
more
like more thought-provoking.
Yes, we're trying to explore. We're trying to dive in.
Cool.
Right? I want to learn, so I have to have that learning or growth mindset. I think they're very similar.
Yeah,
just,
sense.
Different universities like to call things different things. Then you have sort of this judging or judgmental.
Ooh, the Judgy McJudgers.
Is that a thing? Did you just make that up?
I might have.
Judgy McJudgers. Seriously? Can't take you anywhere. All right. So this mindset, they say, and whoever they is, whatever I was reading, stems from jealousy. And in theory, at least, it's the easier path. They think, why bother? This is too hard. And often are trying to prove someone else wrong instead of trying to figure their own way out.
Interesting.
So I don't know if that's the same as, your know-it-alls. Probably not. But
I think it's different.
It is definitely different. But it seems similar on the surface. But I guess the 10 seconds I just thought about it, it's different.
Yeah.
So these people are likely to not even ask questions, but they've already convinced themselves of the answer. Yeah. They already think they know the answer.
Yeah, never good because you don't.
These people tend to be more closed-minded. They're going to ask, you know, those sort of closed, like a,
Well, they don't want to be challenged.
yes. And they're exactly, that's what I was trying to say. And then they're critical of others. All right. So now we sort of have some mindsets to play around with as we move through the episode. Don't forget to leave a review if you like what we're talking about. That'd be awesome.
Comment below.
We had a couple of reviews. It was pretty cool.
We did.
All right. So let's move on to some common scenarios or some things that we see.
Okay.
And you can just dive into these two.
I loved the definition part. That was really fun for me. I like listening to that.
I think we've done that before.
Yeah,
I think we've broken those down before. I'd have to go back. So one of the biggest things that I see that's a major problem in the hair industry, and I'm sure other industries, is the resistance to change. It's like, and that's fixed mindset.
Yep.
And it's just these people are just, it's like the ship is going down on fire. Lightning's hitting it. People are getting attacked by sharks. Vikings came and attacked your ship too. All at the same time. And you're like, well, it's always how we've done it. We'll just keep going.
I think to change your mindset, maybe it's not for everybody. It's a hard one for me, for sure. It depends on the situation, I guess. Certain moments I'm like ready, like I can almost see where I want to be, but I don't know how to get there. But so I'm open to everything I have to do to get there. And then certain scenarios, I'm having a friggin' adult temper tantrum and I'm mad about it.
I don't know. I'm adult.
I'm an adult.
Yeah, but your temper tantrums aren't.
Whatever. All right, I'm having a temper tantrum as an adult because I am irritated with the pain that might be associated with the growth that's going to come. And all mentors, I feel like I see that on social media everywhere. Like, you got to go through the pain to go through the growth. And I'm like, fuck you. I don't want to be pained anymore. But it is true. Like, if you can endure what's happening with these changes and you can endure what is going on with what's in your mind on the other side of it, if you can push through and open your mind to what's going on, you can truly grow as a person and do better things in your life and in your business.
For sure.
That's a fact.
Yeah. So this resistance to change and this failure to innovate and keep up with the world holds back everything. A lot of businesses and on our last podcast, we actually talked about competition. We talked about competition and how competition, like good competition, pushes you to be better. It doesn't, we've already talked about abundance and I have that mindset. I think there's more than enough. I learned that in the gym world when people would want like territories and stuff. I owned a CrossFit gym and people were like, I had people call me because another CrossFit gym opened in our town we were in, losing their mind. Yeah. Like, that's not fair. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. And I'm like, they shouldn't be allowed to open a business.
My last salon and the salon we own currently, we have other salons, barbershops right next to us.
Yeah, in the same building. Yeah. It's never affected us.
No, nor did it in my last salon. But I've met with people that are like, I'm going to try to get like a non-compete or I don't know what the term is. I'm sure you can tell me or you comment below. Let me know. So that another salon or barbershop can go in to that building.
It's not a non-compete, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I'm like
exclusivity rights.
Yes. And I'm like, what does it matter? Honestly, you kind of want that because they're all going in for the same services or something similar, offer a different experience. And before you know it, they'll be at your salon, shop, whatever you want to call it, because that's the experience you're looking for. And if they're not looking for the experience you're giving, then you don't want them anyway.
True. I shut my mic off there. True story. So another thing to think about when it comes to just what we just were talking about, like competition in the same area is, and this is a common practice in a lot of businesses group together, and I forget the term for it, but there are models that show that if you put a gas station across from another gas station, you can look it up online, but it benefits both businesses.
Makes sense.
If you look at competitors, like how often are you driving down the street, at least in New England here, right? And you arrive at like a traditional sort of intersection. There's a Walgreens, a Rite Aid, a CVS. They're all across the street from each other. They're all on, there's probably a fourth one on the other corner. And guess what? They're all busy.
Yeah.
Because they understand where people are congregating and they understand their clientele.
Right.
So that's who they market towards. I'm not marketing towards someone else's clientele. So I don't care where they can put their place on top of ours.
Right.
Not really, because
well,
it's one story. But you know what I mean?
Yes.
We could sublease the attic.
There is an attic.
Somebody
That's
can
true.
put something up there. All right. So, another thing I see with the failure to sort of keep up with the times and kind of resistance to change is even stuff like booking. We talk to people and they're like, oh, my salon books on paper.
Yeah.
The what?
I've talked to some owners that are just
that's the way we've always done
online booking at all.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
That is definitely, without a doubt in my mind, hurting your business.
Yeah.
Because you're limiting the people. So unless you're a very specific demographic that does not want convenience, like if you're like, oh, my clients don't like convenience, they like to do it the hard way.
Again, it comes
down to... It's weird when you say it out loud.
To the change of it. It's technology makes people not everybody, but I've talked to owners that they don't understand it. So it's so beyond them. They don't want to learn it. I
was going to say, imagine learning something.
It's so easy. I was in a salon a couple months ago and I think it was a rental salon. It doesn't matter. It must have been. So the girl did online booking, but she's like, I was missing out when the phone rang because nobody could book me because I was online. So she's like, I decided to take away my online booking and I went back to the paper booking. So when the phone rang, I would get these appointments. She was surprised when she didn't really get that many appointments from the phone and she was way more successful in her online booking. She just, I think hearing the phone ring was like, oh my God, everyone's getting busier than me, but they weren't. And she wasn't. And so she was like, I need to go back to my online booking because it was way more successful and convenient for her. And she needs to see her schedule. There was so many more pros to it than there were cons. But in the salon atmosphere she was in, I think she kind of felt like it was like FOMO, like I'm missing out if I'm not on that paper book, and then realized she wasn't missing out on anything.
No, definitely not.
But when she's in a sea of people who don't want to change,
that is cool that she was able to recognize that, though. Anything else on that resistance to change?
I think she just wasn't around a lot of people that were resistant. So it was like, oh, I need to like almost conform. And then obviously realizing her personal business would be better off if she just kept on her path that she had gone before.
Gotcha. I didn't mean her. I just meant on the topic.
Oh, well, anybody.
But that was fun.
But it also showcases you can change, go back to your old ways, and then realize which one's better and change it back.
Dude,
you're not stuck.
Try stuff all the fucking time. Who cares if it works?
Yeah.
Because
some stuff's going to work, some's fail.
Because now you know, though.
Right.
Right? And if you just do things the way they've always been done, you're definitely getting left behind. Because the world moves on.
Right.
Even older people will learn. Like the stubborn people, the most stubborn people that were like, I'll never be on face space, losers. They're all over fucking Facebook. They're on Instagram too. Those motherfuckers are on TikTok now.
Oh my gosh.
They are.
I
think was it 40 or 45 to 55 or something like that was the largest group moving onto TikTok.
Oh, really?
My range is probably off, but that last I saw it was something like that.
Interesting.
And people are like, that's for, teenagers. Why? Don't just decide stuff. Try stuff. Someone put that on a t-shirt.
I like that.
Or a mug. Mm-hmm. Mugs are cool. All right. So next thing that we see is these people are in probably every salon, but fixating on what you don't have.
Yes.
So this is a scarcity mindset. So this is these are your people that focus on the holes in their schedule.
Yep.
Rather than focus on the opportunities that they have. So say you have a 6-hour shift and you have a 3-hour client and a 3-hour client and your first client cancels. All you can see is that cancellation. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you forget to look at the client that's actually going to show up and what opportunities lie there. Because I'm guessing that those that person has other people that are like them.
Right.
Why are you not trying to capitalize on those? Why is your first instinct to go on Instagram and post your cancellation fucking policy?
Yep.
That you're probably not enforcing.
Right. 100% of the time. Because someone out there's like, I enforce mine 100% of the time. If you're not enforcing 100% of the time, it's not a good policy.
And that's great. If you enforce your 100% of the time, we're not talking.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you. I'm giving you a high five.
Skip ahead 30 seconds or whatever Spotify allows you to skip ahead and move on.
But yeah, you're right. That other client that's still there and is going to show up, you want more of those clients.
Yeah.
Get them to refer their friends because they probably will show up too on time, maybe even with a coffee for you.
That'd be nice.
Wouldn't it?
I don't remember the last time a client got me a coffee.
I have clients sometimes even now. It's really cool because they love our team.
Ava goes to Coffee Berries and she gets me chai lattes.
Ava's great like that. But I have clients that will be like, does anybody at the salon want something? Like they're literally going to take an order for the whole salon.
Yeah, I've done that.
I mean, clients do it.
Clients do?
Yes.
Oh shit, I've never seen a client do that.
I have had a few clients recently.
Pretty cool.
Anybody want anything? Like that's how much they really love the team.
Yeah, I've walked around before when I've had not much going on and I'm like, you know what? I'll make the best of this and go grab a beverage or whatever. And yeah, I'll ask, the clients. I don't think I've ever had anyone take me up on it yet, but you should if you're listening. All right. So that's fixating on what you don't have. That's some scarcity shit right there. Stop that. We'll get there. Here's the next one. So knocking others or believing that your method is the only method.
Oof, yeah.
This again, I think is a fixed mindset sort of thing. And also like knocking others is obviously that judgmental mindset.
Judgy McJudgers.
To me, this comes from a place of fear.
Yeah.
Which I guess also is a little bit of the scarcity mindset because if you're like, this is the only way this can be done, that's because you think if people do it another way, your way is less. But it's not true. Your way is probably fucking awesome.
Yeah.
If you focus on it.
You know where you see that a lot? I used to see it when I used to educate for Joyco. I saw this often. People would be crying because the constructive criticism that would come at them to the way that Joyco wanted them to educate. So it really had nothing to do with what they would go home and go be behind the chair. But if they were going to teach for them, they had to like the level of gain that needed to come out of this class was huge. So people would be crying like, I'm good. I don't understand like what she's saying. I'm like, it has nothing to do with you personally or nothing to do with behind the salon when you go behind the chair, excuse me. But when you're going to educate, they want it a certain way. And the fear was like, someone was telling them they weren't good enough. Like, yes, maybe as an educator.
Today.
Yeah, but not as a stylist behind the chair. Like they were two different things. You were here to be an educator. You were not here to get better behind the chair in a sense, right? But they couldn't switch that. And then it literally would like people were crying and I'm like, why are you here? It's just constructive criticism. Take it or leave it. Be an educator or don't. Like, I don't know what you wanted to get out of it.
Yeah, I used to see it in the gym world a lot too. People thought like they were good at working out, so they automatically would be good at coaching.
Yeah.
And then if they were
don't go hand in hand.
Okay or good at coaching, they thought they could run a business.
Yeah.
And those three things are
very
wildly different.
Yeah.
You know, going into a business to get a workout in and being responsible for the landlord not locking your doors on you and rekeying the locks because you have to pay the rent. Those are two different things.
Mm-hmm. Very.
And just because you're good at doing a pull-up doesn't mean you can teach somebody how to do a pull-up.
Right.
It doesn't mean that.
Yeah, and vice versa. Because we saw that. Not good at a pull-up, but you can teach it really well.
Where?
I've seen people. I could teach a pull-up when I was CrossFit certified, whatever it was.
You couldn't do a pull-up?
No.
Oh.
Maybe one. That's it. Nothing.
Interesting.
I'm probably maybe one.
You could get a pull-up. We'll have to go downstairs. We have a pull-up bar downstairs.
We do.
In the garage. All right. Anyways, moving on. So don't worry about it. If you're someone that's like, you know what? I do that. I kind of do knock other people's methods. I shouldn't do that. Stay tuned. Leave a review. But it's okay if you fall into these things. It's okay if you're willing to change.
It's actually great if you realized it.
The next one I have here is believing everything you see or hear. I see this a lot in the hair world, and it's concerning because with social media and everything being so widely available, you have to be able to filter stuff. But the fact is that a lot of people can't filter, which is where a coach or a mentor or somebody comes into play, like somebody that can filter for you. So,
right.
And I used to talk about that a ton with my gym again. Like as a coach, when I was in that role at my gym, I looked at myself as like a filter. I had tried all the diets. I had spoken to people about all the diets. I had seen all the diets. I had dove into them. So I could look at someone and be like, this is probably what's going to work best for you. Or I could say, this particular nutrition plan or whatever is not going to fit your lifestyle. So you're going to get some Insta results in, 3 or 4 weeks.
But then they're gone.
But then you're traveling or whatever. And it's a lot of planning or a lot of prep. And there's more better ways, I guess, to go about it.
Right.
Right. So don't believe everything you see or hear.
Absolutely.
But it's hard because there's so much fucking information out there.
It is hard because
and people putting their information out too aren't trying to like trick you.
No.
They just think they're the best.
Well, and they're putting it out in the way they want it to be delivered to you.
Right. They're not going to be like most people. I do see some people, but they're not going to be like, oh, if you're like this won't work for you.
Right.
It's not.
The goal for them is just the
often
hook.
That you hear that.
Just that you reach out to them. Right. Like that's where that goes. Like I only post pictures for the most part, I think, of my kids looking really happy. Like, your kids look so happy all the time. I'm like, are you kidding me? The second after one smacked the other one's crying, a foot in the face. I'm like, yeah, it's just, that's not what I put on Instagram. I want to show my kids happy if I can.
Do people really think like your kids don't cry?
I have no idea.
They don't fall down. They don't get hurt. They're
I should
always
have put
just
the picture up of Gwen turning her back to the boys the other day. Like,
they're
this
always
is
just
real life.
They're always just at the playground happy.
Like, oh, they're just so happy. Hair's brushed, so is their teeth. I'm like, yeah, that's not regular life.
All right. So another scenario that we see is people believing that they're owed something.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Now, no one owes you anything. Not a job, not a clientele. But we see people that are coming out of school that are like, you're responsible for building my clientele. You're responsible for bringing me money. You're responsible. And then they sit around. Mm-hmm. And then we're like, hey, all right. Here's the steps you need to take. And here's why you need to take those steps. And they're like, all right, great. Yeah, this is awesome. And then they sit around. And then they move to sit somewhere else because we don't let people sit for too long. But you're not owed anything. And my next point is wanting a reward for something you haven't done. Mm-hmm. So those kind of play nice together. Yeah. You don't get rewarded for stuff you haven't done. What the fuck? Where did that mindset?
Get prepaid for the work, like for your work week?
Yeah. Or
that's why you get paid after your work week's done.
Or do you want is it like a participation trophy? Like, oh, you showed up? Yeah.
Or you said you're gonna show up.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna work so hard for this, and then blocks the schedule out.
P.S. On a side note, I will say at Hello, we do a lot of shit behind the scenes to grow the clientele for our staff. But we do that.
It doesn't work if they don't work.
Correct. We do that because there's a relationship there of what they need to do to grow themselves too. And it's a working relationship. Yeah. But we do a shit. We invest
money and a lot of it into marketing. Yeah. And we invest into getting people in front of their ideal clients. Mm-hmm. Now, what they do with that, like if I'm filling your book for you, I don't mind doing that. But if you're not retaining any clients, there's
it's a working relationship.
There's something broken in the system. So we will work with people to a limit. Yeah. To figure out what's going on. And I always tell Jen, as long as I see effort, I'm willing to fight for somebody.
Agreed.
And sometimes that's a bad mindset that I have because I fought for people that don't deserve to be.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
To have someone have their back.
As an owner, we do that though. I've fought for people that I want more than they do. And it takes me a hot minute to realize like, oh, I can see where you could go, but you're not willing to do these things to get there. And I can't do that for you. And I got to let that go. And it hurts at times because I'm like, oh, you could be so successful so quickly. But it is what it is.
All right. So before we dive into what to do about this stuff, I got one more.
Okay.
And this is the grass is greener scenario.
Oh, it's a good one.
So here's what I mean by the grass is greener. If you're an owner and you're like, oh, that salon's so awesome, my salon sucks. If you're an employee and you're like, oh, that salon would be nice to work at, this one's not so nice. Why are you focused on what's outside of your control?
Right.
Why are you focused on
first.
Everything else around you? Maybe, just maybe, if you watered your own lawn, that shit would be green too.
Yeah.
But we all, like human beings, just in it. People, just so you know, I've worked on this a lot. Like, I'm not perfect. I still have days where I lose my shit. It happens.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not perfect by any means. But I'm able to, I'm able now to look at things and be like, that's cool that that person has that. What do I want, though?
Right.
Like, do I even want that? Or do I just want it because someone else has it?
Yeah.
Or what? Like, and then I realize you realize that you are just watching other people. Like it,
right.
Instead of working on your own craft or working on your own business or developing your own
doesn't mean they're happy.
mindset.
Yeah.
Right. No, it doesn't mean that they're happy at all.
Right.
All right. So what do we do about this stuff? How do we change our mindset? I already told you the first one. So this is, you've got to define and understand who you are.
Right.
And where your mindset sits.
Would you say even like, how do you want to feel on that? Oh, you got to go.
That's okay. I had a comma. I had a comma there, but you, and then you have to be cool with it or none of this works.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I have a scarcity mindset. Every time I see someone else doing well, I think, why am I not doing well? I can't do well if that person's doing well. That's okay.
Yeah.
But you have to be cool with it. Like I'm saying it's okay. You're saying it's okay. But the person has to be cool with it.
Yeah.
So that we know where to go next. So you have to define that. Go ahead. What did you say?
Oh, I already forget.
Oh, cool.
Sorry. I should have wrote that down.
Yeah. That's why you have a pen and a notebook sitting in front of you. All right. The next thing you have to do is to make this a priority. This has to be a conscious effort and you're going to have to put a lot of work in. So you have to prioritize. I'm changing my mindset.
Yes.
I'm working on my mindset. So if you don't define and understand where you're at and you don't put it to the top of the list, nothing else matters.
Correct.
So hit pause here, go leave us a review, get on our email list.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say.
And then skip to the next show. What? Go.
Part of, I think, it was whatever you were saying for the first part, how do you change it, is also how do you want to feel? I think that sometimes
all right,
can help you define, like, okay, of course I want to change this, but like, I don't really, I mean, I'm scared when I see someone else successful, I'm never going to be successful. Like, okay, well, do you want to feel successful? Like that might, no, I actually, feeling successful is not really that important to me. Feeling X, Y, and Z is. Okay, well, that might help you figure out your course of action for your change, is asking yourself, how do you want to feel? Just a different approach to it. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. And take it a step further. Like, let's define success. If you're going to start throwing the word success around, let's define that.
Right. Because it's different for everybody.
Because we've seen businesses. So I'm not going to get into the specifics, but we've seen the actual books to a business. Mm-hmm. And this business is doing 7 figures. So over $1 million in sales. And they're like, we do over $1 million. Yeah. You're running at a negative 2% profit. Right. That's not okay. Yeah. Like that's cool that $1 million has passed through your business. I guess that's cool. You don't have any of it.
Right. I guess if you just wanted to see all the numbers after the one, like
you just paid $20,000 to work.
Right. But for some that might, I guess, be successful. I don't know.
They just want to look at the top line, I guess.
They just want to say $1 million came through my business.
Jeez. So anyways, define success.
Yes.
Next thing I have on my list, and Jen, jump in if you have any bullets or anything to add here, is to take daily actions. So this is not, if you're going to change your mindset's working whether you're working on it or not. Your mindset's operating, it's running. It's your operating fucking system for your brain.
Right.
So if you're not going to work on it daily, it's either going to take you way longer or not work.
Right.
And I want this stuff to work for you.
Right.
So
one of the things I do, so it's really
take daily action.
Important, and I think you're going to touch on this too.
How do you know what I'm going to touch
exercise.
on?
But so
it's in there somewhere.
So someone had, a lot of times too, I've spoken this before, like people put things in the universe and they're like, I put in the universe, I hope it comes back, I hope it comes true. Like unless you take actionable steps, like
what is it, like a boomerang? They throw it out and just hope
I hear
it comes
often.
back?
So, unless you're putting together a plan and actionable steps to make that come true, cool, you put in the universe, that's your first step, but you have to make the plan and the action. So one of the things, like for me, and I do this daily because I want to be healthy. I like to be healthy for my kids. I want to be active. I want to be able to move when my kids have kids, any of those things. So like in the morning when I definitely don't want to get up to do anything that would make me healthy, I just want to sleep. But I literally will say this to myself. What do healthy people do? Well, they get up, they either go for a walk, they go for a run, they go for an exercise, they have a shake, they eat a good breakfast. So like it helps motivate me when I'm like, well, if I want to be healthy, what would a healthy person do? So I get up and I get on my bike or I go for a run or I have a healthy breakfast, drink lots of water, and that helps me stay on course.
I like it. I did not want to take a ride today on the bike.
But you did?
Yeah.
So did I.
Yep.
Because
I thought you went for a run.
It was raining.
You know what?
I wash my hair once a week, so
I knew you
couldn't get my hair wet.
I knew you rode the bike because the seat was
short.
so much lower. Yeah.
Yeah, it was rainy, so I couldn't do that. I wasn't going to mess up my hair. I'll get it sweaty. I just won't get it rainy.
Yeah, dry shampoo, right?
I don't even need
Haze?
that anymore. Haze. I ordered it.
All right, so the next thing, have a plan. And that plan might include like a note or a written list or a habit or something that's like a trigger or a response to a trigger. So something happens and you know that you have a note on your phone that you written out what to do when this something happens. Rely on that.
Absolutely.
I was listening to a podcast and this woman, and I have her name somewhere in my notes, but not in front of me, not in these notes. She created this stop, snap, switch approach.
Okay.
So she said, energy goes where the focus flows.
Love this.
And she probably, to be honest with you, was using like a hair tie or something. So she said, something bad happens, whatever it was, whatever she was working on. And she's like a mindset coach for entrepreneurs. So what she would do is she would stop and sort of acknowledge, and we call that pause.
I have a pause.
We say that all the time. Yeah, it's awesome. So you stop and acknowledge the problem. You snap the bracelet or tie or whatever on your wrist. So there's some sort of like action.
Yep.
And then you switch. You put it on the other wrist.
Ooh.
And now I've never tried any shit like that, but she was like, this works for me and works for a lot of my clients. I stop, I snap, and then I switch.
I like this.
So you're acknowledging what happened. And then the act of switching is like, I've moved on. It's not even there anymore.
Super
It's on the
cool.
other hand.
I'm going to move my pause bracelet up on my wrist and I'm going to check this out. And for any of you who have seen my wrists, they got a lot of bracelets on it. So I have to be strategic here.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous, but it is cool. Shout out Sarah if she's listening, because she makes cool bracelets and I have a ton of them too, not on.
Yeah.
But I have a lot.
I have them on.
All right. So the next thing that we want you to do is to always see the positive. And that's not easy, but if you pair it with the pause, and if you haven't heard us talk about the pause before, it's not a new concept or anything. It's definitely not something we've made up.
No.
But you want to take a pause. So something bad happens, or you acknowledge that your mindset is shifting to somewhere that you don't want it to go, and you pause because it's okay that that's happening because you're a human being.
Feel what you got to feel.
Yep. Feel the feels. That's in here too somewhere. Afterwards, during, before, I don't care, but I want you to see some something positive.
Yeah.
Like, what is
It's
the
there.
lesson
Yeah.
that you can learn here? Because the universe, if you want to get into a little woo, the universe is going to throw you the same lesson over and over until you get it through your thick skull and you change. And the change comes from, what'd you say earlier? The pain, the discomfort. Yeah.
That's the hardest part for me.
So snap that bracelet harder. There's your pain. No, I'm just kidding.
Switch it to the other wrist. I'm going to try this and move on.
All right. So
there is always a positive, and it can be difficult to find it, but
it could even just be the lesson.
Yeah. You gotta focus on that, because the sooner you can get over that obstacle, because you got to feel what you got to feel for sure. The sooner you can feel what you got to feel and kind of keep moving forward, the quicker you're going to get where you want to be.
For sure. All right. The next thing I had on my list was engage more. So engage more. Here's what I mean by that. Try to discover and explore more things. Try to open your world up to a different way of thinking, but it doesn't mean that you have to go out and buy a self-help book. Go out and read a novel. There might be something that resonates. Go out and see a movie that you wouldn't normally go see.
Yeah.
Just explore the world. Try a new hobby. I don't know, try an instrument. Go for a hike through the woods. Whatever you have to do, try something new, explore. It's just the habit of exploration, I think, in discovery does like wonders for your mind. Because you start to think like, what else is possible?
Right.
What other opportunities can I create?
And you learn so much by trying different things or getting out of your regular routine.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll sometimes go for walks through the woods. I'm not ever taking the same path. I have no idea where I am. I mean, I have a phone. I'm not going to get lost. And there's a pretty extensive trail system. If we walk far enough through our property, there's a pretty extensive trail system. So I'm never afraid of getting lost.
Right.
But sometimes I go out and I just walk and I let my brain just wander. And that's it. Find myself staring at a tree and I'm like, I've never noticed this tree before. And it's just the act of exploring. I think it's good for people.
I would agree. I need to explore more often.
Here's something people need to do more often. Okay. Listen.
Oh.
Listen more. And this kind of goes with discovering and exploring. But now listening, what is listening? It could mean it could be sitting out in the woods, right? And just listening to the woods, to what's around you.
Calming your mind, your brain.
Yeah.
Your whole entire body.
How about listen to a conversation?
Listen without
not eavesdrop.
Trying to have a
don't interject.
I was going to say, don't formulate your next thing you're going to say before they're done talking, because that's not listening.
No, I'm talking about listen to a conversation, but don't
just like
be part of it.
Oh, I like to interject, but yeah, I'm with you.
This is why I dig podcasts so much, because I can listen to two people having a conversation and there's no possible way that I can interject.
True. Well, you could, just they can't hear you.
How?
Just talk out loud.
I wouldn't be listening.
I know. So I'm saying most people don't listen.
Listen more, I said.
I know. And
We're fighting.
I'm relatable. Is that a word?
Relatable is a word.
Okay,
yes.
good.
All right. So listen more, just not to Jen. All right. We already kind of covered this, but feel the feels. And I'm big on this one. I know you're big on this one, Jen. But if you're frustrated over a specific thing, then go through the process, because me telling you to get over it or you telling yourself, suck it up. Like,
totally. That used to be me. And I think
it's
one day
counterproductive.
It's so bad. Honestly, it's okay to feel whatever the F you're feeling. It's totally fine. It's probably normal. It's very healthy. The point of it is pause. And what are you going to do next with that? That's the important part. And if you don't feel it, you're never going to grow or change or see the positive or do anything with it that will help you get to where you want to be.
I believe that all of our emotions are just that. They're emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't assign good or bad to emotions. So a lot of people would look at anger and think, that's bad.
Right.
I don't want to be angry.
But if you are.
But your anger could come from a place of, who knows, let's take it to the extreme. Say your family was in a dangerous situation and that angered you. And now you can use that anger to get them out of that situation. Mm-hmm. Well, then it's not that bad.
Right.
It's a human emotion.
Yeah.
and millions of years of evolution.
That's why I say it's what you do with it. Like you just, I don't know.
What you do after it.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, I said with it. I meant after.
Well, it might be. Who knows? I've had times where I've reacted out of anger that's helped people. Mm-hmm. There's been times when I worked behind bars places. Oof. There would be fights that broke out, and that shit would piss me off because I don't have time to get in a fight. I'm trying to make some tips over here. But I would stop and do whatever you do what you have to do, you know, to protect people or to diffuse the situation or whatever. All right. We already talked about the pause, so we can kind of move past that one unless you have something else to add. We talk about it quite a bit, and you should learn how to do it. Basically, if you find yourself acting in a way or thinking in a way that you don't want to be acting or thinking, you need to pause and just feel stuff and figure out where to go next.
Do that.
What?
No, it's true.
I know it's true. It's why I said it. All right. Find an outlet. Find an outlet. You want to change your mindset. You want to be able to address problems in a different way. I don't know what your outlet might be. Maybe it's a hobby. Maybe it's trying a new way of working out. Maybe you're somebody that has an immense amount of stress and you're carrying it physically and it's not good for you. Take up boxing. Take up something that gets that out in a positive way.
You need that release.
Yeah. And your outlet should be just that, just an outlet. Not, again, let's not assign negative or, you know, oh, I have to blow off this steam. Like it, yeah, cool. Just do it. Yeah, don't have to hang out in the negative, like, just thought process.
To feel better. Just want to,
whatever helps you
to help. Yeah. To get you to the other part where the growth happens, right? Like,
right.
Everyone's going to look different for that. For me, it is exercise for sure.
When I had my gym, I would tell people all the time, they would say, why are these workouts so fucking hard?
They were hard. The warm up was hard.
So I would tell people in the morning, think about the rest of your day and how easy that's going to be. Because if you got through this, you're good.
You got this.
You're good.
So true.
All right. Next, find a mentor or somebody that you can talk to and have real conversations with. You have to be able to talk to these people, whoever it is, and they need to be afforded the ability, and they have to have the ability to be honest with you, not in a jerk way.
Yeah.
But if you're asking a friend for advice that would never challenge you or never tell you like, hey man, you were a little out of line there.
Right.
Then that's not going to work.
No. I think it's even hard. Like, if you're going to do that, talk to a mentor or your friend or whatever, I'd say a mentor. It's very difficult, in my opinion. It was very difficult for me to be raw, like to really like show everything of like what I was feeling. Because I always feel like I have to be like stronger than I am, whatever. But if you really want someone to help you, then you've got to be able to be vulnerable. I'm going to say, I guess, that's the word I'm looking for.
Pretty good word.
So that person can understand everything you're going through, everything you're feeling, everything you want to feel. And then there can be a plan that lays out. If you're not honest with everything, put it all on the table, then you're not letting that person truly in. So you have to be ready for that. And I mean that because it's a really important step if you're going to have someone try to help you and help you grow.
I think it goes back to you have to define or identify where you're at currently. Mm-hmm. And that's a very honest thing. It can be true. It can be pretty deep.
Because you might be showcasing yourself as one way, but you need to be honest.
It can be emotional.
Yeah.
It can be really hard to open yourself up to be vulnerable, and you don't have to do it with a stranger. Like, yes, there are mentoring and coaching services that you can hire. We're one of them. Mm-hmm. Awesome. If that's too much for you, start with a family member or
someone you do trust.
Or you have a friend. Everyone has at least one friend. And if you don't, that's cool too. Like, whatever. I'm not judging.
Then start with yourself and at least be honest with
you know,
how you're feeling and
talk
where you
to
want
yourself.
To be. Yeah. I'm good at that.
All right, we already talked about exercise, and I couldn't agree more. If you need to move your body, that's
so
good.
important.
And
any way, shape, or form.
if you don't think that this used to irritate the hell out of me all the time, but people would look at like one part of the equation. So at my gym, I would have people that came in and they're like, I'll work out as hard as you can whip me. I don't care. You can do whatever. You can throw kettlebells at me. What? The one thing I won't do is change my nutrition. And I would say, well, then your results aren't going to really be optimal. They're going to be subpar all the time. Why? Because it's a whole, it's a system.
Mm-hmm.
So when you work on exercise, that is working on your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But so often people are like, well, it's physical. I'm trying to change my mindset. It's one thing. You're an organic being.
Right.
Like, and again, I'm not trying to sound all woo. This is fact. Like your nervous system.
And your nutrition is part of that.
Your mind. Right.
Drink water, eat good, like
exercise. Yeah.
You will feel so much better and be able to make better decisions.
Yeah.
Because you feel better.
I'm always blown away by how many people don't drink water. Or they're like, I had people tell me before that I drink 2 of these bottles a day. I'm like, that's a 12-ounce bottle.
I have people that look at the amount of water I drink. They're like, I could never do that.
And you probably drink 2 of those.
I'm like, I drink so much water. It's ridiculous. And when I don't drink enough, I don't feel good.
The last thing I had on my list was meditate.
That's a good one.
So this is something that I've gotten back to recently.
I need to do that more often.
And again, it really, you know what? You need to do it daily.
Yeah.
Because that's how you're going to create the habit. And I have to get back to doing it daily because I put it off for a couple days. And then when you miss those like 2 days, it's all over. But meditate, you can use an app, you can talk to somebody, you can go on YouTube, you can Google it, whatever you have to do. But just giving your mind a little time off is almost, to me, the same as like taking a rest day out of the gym. You
agreed.
You're busting your ass in the gym. You're breaking down muscle tissue. You're going home, you're doing some extra cardio, whatever. You're running yourself down. Your body has to recover. Your muscles have to recover so that they can grow stronger. That's how it works in a nutshell. Your mind, is the same thing. So if you're like hammering this stuff, like I'm going to work on my mindset and I'm not letting up and I'm going to work it.
Well, this is part of it.
Brain needs a minute to...
You got to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
It's
just
so important.
Become grounded. Just be mindful in your own mind. I really enjoy the breathing work ones. You can look this up on your own. You know what? I'll shoot through. If I see something cool, I'll put it in the show notes. But box breathing, like box breathing would be like breathing in for 4 seconds and like really breathing in. Again, I'm not going to get into it. Then holding that breath in for 4 seconds. Then exhaling for 4 seconds, trying to get all that air out of your body. And then this is where the magic happens, holding out for 4 seconds. So each breath is 16 seconds.
Cool.
And it's not difficult to do.
It's not easy.
But it's difficult to do correctly.
Yeah.
Right? That's all I had.
That's great.
That was, we're at 54-ish minutes.
Okay.
So that's good anyways, but...
Call it a day.
Let's call it a day. All right. So if you enjoyed this episode, what are we going to have you do? Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever, right? And again, I think I said this last show, but if you don't do that and you still listen, we still love you.
And tag us on Instagram. It's cool to share that you're enjoying it and for people to see that.
That is always fun.
Love to all of you that are doing
Appreciate that.
So thanks.
Talk to you next time.
Support is good.
Bye.
Have a great day.